All right, ladies and gents, you submitted the questions. Here are my answers. So here we are. It's Sunday, guys. This is community-sponsored questions and answers from Gate City, guys. We're going to talk a little defense. We're going to talk about the backup quarterback. We're going to talk about wide receivers. All right, y'all. Let's get it. What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hightower with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever it is you get around to watching us. Once again, guys, my name is Steven Hightower, and this is Gate City Sports Channel. All right, y'all, today's topic. Hey, guys, this is a segment that's the second time I'm doing it, but it's already becoming one of my favorite segments on this channel. These are your questions asked to me directly and my response. So if you guys are wondering, hey, Gate, I didn't catch last week's video. I didn't see your post. I didn't know this stuff was going on. How in the world can I submit a question? Hear me out, guys. You got to go. Dial in 336. Area code is 336-618-7767. Once again, that's 336-618-7767. Leave me a voicemail message. And like I said, I'll try to sponsor and answer 3 to 5 of these questions every Sunday, guys. All right, y'all. In addition, if you're not aware, I have started a, kind of fan, kind of community supported thing to where you can join and become a member of the community. I have 4 different tiers. Each tier offers something different, guys. I will ask you to read through the tier very closely and understand what I'm offering you, because I did actually provide real services for you guys. So make sure you understand what you're going to get with each tier. All right, y'all. Go ahead and check that out. Just go back to, the Gate City Sports Channel homepage. Check out Join. Look at the Join membership. And then, boom, you got it, guys. All right, y'all. Today's topic. Like we said, guys, we already discussed it. It is your questions. And with that, I'm not going to delay you any longer. Let's get into question number 1. Let's roll it.
Hey, it's your boy Eagle Season. I just wanted to ask, with Marquise Goodwin opting out, would the Philadelphia Eagles be open to adding a veteran wide receiver and maybe Antonio Brown, Demaryius Thomas, or something like that? And if you feel great about that, or if you think it's going to happen, that's your read.
All right, Eagle Season. What's up, guys? For y'all that don't know, Eagle Season is a young, late middle school, maybe early high school aged content creator himself that covers Eagles content. I'm going to shout him out for a second. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, show him a little love and check out his channel, guys. All right, to your question, Eagle Season. Here's the deal. I think that the Eagles will probably go into camp with what they have, okay? I don't see them going and signing a guy right now, but I'm not going to say that won't happen. So if the Eagles go into camp and they just feel these guys, these youngins, Reagor, you look at JJ Arcega-Whiteside, you look at, guys like, Quez Watkins and John Hightower and Manasseh Bailey. They feel that these young guys that they, picked up last year, picked up this year in the draft, or signed as an undrafted rookie free agent are not ready for the limelight, then I think you'll see them pull back guys. I think you'll see them sign a veteran. Now, I get what you're saying, and it's going to depend upon where they feel the need is. So if you're going after Demaryius Thomas or someone like that, you're looking for a possession guy that can play the X, in my opinion. You're looking for a boundary side receiver. That would mean JJ and Reagor and Hightower and these guys that, you're still off about Alshon Jeffrey's injury. I think you got to be careful with that, though, because Alshon is coming back. You got him under contract. Like, it's best to just mend your bridges and mend the situation until you can get there. So I think Demaryius Thomas is a much smaller opportunity for that to happen, but I won't rule it completely out. If the Eagles actually did sign a veteran, the person I would keep my eye on Eagles season is Taylor Gabriel, formerly of the Chicago Bears. This is a speed guy that has a vertical element to his game. He's probably a better overall receiver than Marquise Goodwin was, but not quite as fast as Marquise Goodwin. Same kind of injury concerns as Marquise Goodwin. He's had a lot of concussions throughout his career. So, all those things, guys, all those things are there. When it comes to him, that would be someone I watch, but my gut instinct is they're not going to do anything until they see these rookies, they see these young guys, and then they feel like, okay, now we feel like they're not ready. I don't think that's going to happen, man. I think these young guys are ready. I think we're going to roll with what we have.
How do you think the Eagles' offense will change with the new coaches? And does practice scholarships make it on this team this year just up going opting out?
I didn't catch a name, but I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate the questions, guys. So, all right, let's start off with question one. Question one is about the way that the new coaches coming in are going to impact the Eagles. So to begin with, the greatest impact in terms of a scheme and things like that kind of perspective is probably going to come from Rich Grandrello and probably from Marty Morningwig. But we need to distinguish that. Rich Grandrello is going to have a more personal, everyday relationship with the organization. Marty Morningwig is more in an advising type role for Doug Peterson, so he might not be with the team on a daily basis type thing. Now, here's what I will say. Marty Morningwig got a lot of production in Philadelphia out of his running backs. I thought that there was a period of time where Marty Morningwig really revived Andy Reid after that 2004 Super Bowl run and the disaster of 2005. I thought Morningwig was a bit of a fresh breath of air for a while, but eventually, like it happens to everybody, if you stick around long enough in the league catches up to you. And I think that happened to Marty Morningwig a little bit. But I also think that helps him because he gets what happens to coaches over time. And he can help Doug a little bit there from an advisory role. Now, Rich Grandrello. Rich Grandrello likes to roll the pocket. Okay, this is a guy that teaches his quarterbacks movement from the pocket. So one of the biggest changes I think you're going to see is I think we'll see a little more designed kind of, rolling of the pocket. And we'll also see, I think, Carson get the green light to challenge the perimeter a little bit as well, too, to where if guys start getting a little too aggressive with their defensive ends, I do think this year we'll play with a little more reckless abandon with Wentz and we'll let him break the pocket. There's positives and negatives to that. Number one, it will soften a defense because you will have to be concerned about Wentz nickel and diming you for 5 to 10 yards every time he breaks the pocket. Number two, it may open things because now your linebackers and your safeties will have to cheat a little bit and pay attention to Wentz. Number three, there's a downside to it. Could he be potentially exposed to injury? Of course he can. That's always a possibility here. The other things here, Andrew Briner coming in, guys. Andrew Briner absolutely, could make an impact one way or another. Andrew Briner is going to be here for, to help with the passing game. He's a former wide receiver coach, and he's coached quarterbacks before, so that's going to be helping. You got Aaron Moorhead's going to work with developing these guys and teaching these guys NFL level route running. Guys like JJ Arcega-Whiteside and these young receivers absolutely need this type of coaching. I'm very, very positive and encouraged by the changes I've seen with the offensive coaching staff. I think that's going to be a major, major plus. Now, to your second question, it kind of broke up on me a little bit, and I couldn't hear exactly what you were saying. I'm assuming you're talking about the Marquise Goodwin opt-out. Look, I think Marquise Goodwin had a right to do with what he did. It's not the decision I would have wanted him to make, but I realize it's a completely selfish thing for me to say, okay? I would like all the Eagles to have played, but he's got a wife that's had 3 miscarriages. He's lost children. He's got a 5-month at the house. I think he's prioritizing things. Look, it sucks. No one likes losing guys. Now, would the Eagles maybe make a move a receiver? I kind of addressed that in the last comment. I think they're going to grow with what they got, and then if there's a deficiency, then we'll see them address it, and I would look to, Taylor Gabriel will be who I would look to, guys. All right, let's go into the third question.
Backup quarterback. I'm real eager to see how that plays out. I want to know your thoughts. Thanks, buddy.
Okay, just for full disclosure, that wasn't the full voicemail. He asked me 2 separate questions, but I'm trying to keep this in a tangible, easy way to follow, so I'm going to address his first question as we get to the defensive side of the ball, okay? So, first off, thank you so much for the comment. I appreciate you. Secondly, backup quarterback. How do I see it? Look, I think the early indications here are that Nate Sudfeld, it's his job to lose. Nate Sudfeld's had, 3 years almost now in this system. He should know the system by now. Look, he's had some bad luck with injuries and things like that. Nate Sudfeld is a much more developed pocket passer right now. His mechanics are better in the pocket. His throwing motion is better. I think Jalen Hurts has got some catching up to do. But clearly, for the long-term prospects of the next 3 to 4 years, it will be Jalen Hurts' job as the backup quarterback. The Eagles have something in mind here. And the way I look at this is Jalen Hurts has a season to really get the mechanics down pat, right? He has a really elongated delivery, guys. I made a video on him before, guys. I'll try to link it down below in the comment section for you guys, that way you can go watch that. I wasn't high on where we picked him. I get the justification behind it. They were scared about Dallas taking him in the 3rd round before them. I still think you overvalued the pick. I would have never graded Jalen Hurts that highly. But I'm excited to have this kid in the offense. I'm going to tell you that right now because I do think Jalen Hurts can play football. He's got a lot to do with his footwork, guys. He's got to learn how to do a full progression, a full read. You can't just do your first and second reads and that's it in the NFL. You'll throw a ton of picks that way. And he's got to shorten up that delivery. He's got a very elongated delivery that causes balls to really sail at times and to really miss his target. And he's just a second too late for the NFL. But these are all things that are very coachable. These are very fixable. Nate Sudfeld, to me, is a much more polished quarterback at this point. Nowhere near the ceiling of a Jalen Hurts, though. So I think it's going to be Nate Sudfeld's for a year. I will tell you this. Just because Nate Sudfeld is the backup, I wouldn't be shocked if Jalen Hurts, to close out games, gets more playing time than Sudfeld. I think Sudfeld's in case of an emergency. I think Jalen Hurts is a guy, if you don't want to expose Wentz to injury, but you want to drive the ball, through some option run stuff and having him maybe go through a little bit of progression to get his feet under him. I could see the last 2 or 3 minutes of a football game, you pull Wentz out and you put Hurts in. And Sudfeld is technically your backup, but not getting the reps. I mean, I could absolutely see that happen, to be quite honest.
Hey, JCD, I like your show. Like, sometimes I feel like you don't know Reagan good. Let me tell you something. I've been watching football a long time, and I see Reagan with Antonio Brown and Steve Smith. Can you compare me Reagan with Antonio Brown and Steve Smith? Because I saw it, the way Reagan won and the way Antonio Brown won is the same. If the Eagle put in the slide and put in the X, put in the Z, I think this guy can play. And I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Hey, Anthony. How you doing, man? So Reagor, the first thing I'll say is that you got to remember, I brought Reagor up back in January. I've been high on Reagor for quite some time now. I was the one who told everybody, hey, man, I've been breaking down film on all these receivers, and there's one guy that I just feel like he's going to slip in the draft some, and if he slips to 21 to the Eagles, this is a really interesting candidate for the Eagles because I think he fits well. I broke down his route running, and I'll link all the videos below. I told you guys that Reagor is a highly underrated route runner. He is one of the best at setting defensive backs up with double moves. Now, when you ask me about comparisons, okay, when you ask me about something like, is he a Steve Smith, is he an Antonio Brown type, guys, I shy away from that because you're talking about some of the greatest receivers to ever play the game. Now, I will say this, his game can mirror at times, it can look like Steve Smith, okay? I think he's closer to Steve Smith than he is Antonio Brown. He's a very athletic kid that's maybe not the tallest guy, he's 5'10-ish, 5'11-ish, but has a crazy vertical, he fights for the football, and he's a little dude that plays the position like he's 6'3". And that's the way that Steve Smith played the football game. Now, if you ask me what about him would remind or gives, why do people keep saying Antonio Brown when they look at him? Antonio Brown was a really good route runner when it came to things like a rocker step. A rocker step is a 3-step kind of like top of your stem, your receiver, your top of your route stem, kind of separation from corners. And you can look at Jalen Reagor and you can look at a guy like AB and you can see those similarities, but I do think that Reagor is going to bring a physicality and a contested catch ability that probably supersedes AB, although I don't know that I would never put him as polished as a player as AB. Like, AB was a particularly polished route runner. So, in terms of what I see this kid as, I see this kid as being very good. Do I see him as a 1,000-yard receiver his rookie season? Of course not. I'm not going to say that he can't accomplish that. I'm going to say I wouldn't project that, trying to be honest. I think this is a kid that will certainly eclipse 500 yards his rookie year. I said in yesterday's live, I saw him, conservative estimate being about 700 or so, 750, 5 touchdowns. I think he could be that kind of receiver right from the jump. I definitely think working with D-Jax and some of these other guys is going to pay off tremendously for him. I'm very high on Reagor. I've been pounding my chest and beating the floor for Reagor for quite some time. And I was so up on Reagor when Mike and them said we drafted Reagor when we did the live. You can go watch the live reaction, guys. When Mike and Reese told me we drafted Reagor, I thought they were messing with me because they knew that I was such a fan of Rager's game. It was the receiver I wanted.
Hey, Gate. This is Messiah. I just wanted to know what's your take on how many linebackers and wide receivers do you think we're going to take into the season? Also, I'm a big fan of the channel. I really love your content, and it helps me get the insight as a football player myself. Bye.
Messiah, what's good, buddy? I appreciate the comment, man. I appreciate you, taking the time to call into the show and leave a voicemail message. Number one, good luck with everything, man. Like I said, if you need some assistance, hit me up. I'll give you some drills you can do at home with your brother and your dad and everybody. So just let me know how things work out for you. Number two, to your question. Let's start with the offense first. We can round off the offense and transition to the defense, okay? So receivers. I see 6-7 guys in total, okay? One of them may or may not count against the roster depending on how injured he really is, and that's Alshon Jeffrey. So I'm not sure if they're going to put him on the active PUP or the reserve PUP. Active PUP counts against your 53-man roster. Your reserve PUP does not. But if you put him on the reserve PUP, he's out for at least 6 to 8 weeks. So it's going to really depend there, but I'll just name them for you how I see it right now, okay? Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, Jalen Reagor, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, John Hightower, Quez Watkins, and then, of course, Greg Ward Jr. That's how I see this Eagles roster shaping up right now. I do think you could see an outside chance that a guy like Rob Davis could get involved in this conversation. I'm not going to rule that out, but he's going to have to come on and perform. And then I do think a guy like Manasseh Bailey has a lot of potential to be carried over to onto the practice squad to have a shot at competing next season. Because let's be real, next season, you probably aren't going to have Marquise Goodwin, even though he still controls rights. You're probably not going to have D-Jax back. I think it's pretty unlikely, or Alshon Jeffrey. So you're going to have a lack of veteran presence. You want to keep as many of these young guys as you can under contract and under your, the team and the organization's control, or you could lose them. At linebacker, I'm going to be honest with you, I think the game is modernizing and changing, and I only see 5 linebackers probably making it, okay? I think it's going to be a complicated situation, but I see it being Nate Gary, TJ Edwards, and then I'm going to say Duke Riley, and then I see both of our rookies making it. I see Davion Taylor making it, and I see Sean Bradley making it. Now, could other guys get into the mix? Of course they could, but I'm just going to go with what I think is going to happen right now. That's the way I see that. And with that transition, guys, let's get into more defensive questions, and let's stick to the defense now.
Gay, what do you think about Jalen Mills at safety? How you think he'll do?
Once again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, guys, to call in and leave a voicemail message asking me a question. It's greatly appreciated. Now, this was the first part of that, question that revolved around the backup quarterback situation. I just wanted to divide it to make a nice and, easy kind of transition into a conversation here. So, love the question, by the way. I like Jalen Mills a lot. I love the competitive nature of this kid, and I do think that he is a much better player inside. I think he's going to play the role of like a utility knife. I think you could see him in goal line situations. I think depending on the matchup with the receiver, if it's a more physical receiver, I think you could see him still bounce outside and play outside corner. I think there'll be times where you'll see this kid play more of a nickel role than really a safety role. He'll be more of a nickel. And then there'll be other times where they might use him over the top. It is possible that they devolve more into like cover 2 defenses, or maybe he plays cover 6 and he's the guy that's coming down for that physicality to play out there on the flats and to come down and be that kind of enforcer down there. I definitely see roles like that for him. I think he will be a utility knife, but I think he's going to be part of a rotation, guys, with, we got good guys like Kavon Wiles, who's a young kid who can play. I wouldn't sleep on Graylin Arnold coming in here and possibly cracking this roster somehow. I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle for him, but the kid's got talent. And then you could also see a guy, like Will Parks. Will Parks can do everything that Jalen Mills can do. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they use them, guys. But I love having Jalen Mills back at least for one more season.
Hi, Steven. My name is Ron Dees Jr. I would like to know, do we have any cornerbacks on the team that will not be a liability in the run game next year? Thank you.
Ron Diaz, what's up, buddy? Appreciate the phone call in and the comment and everything, guys. So, all right, to your question about whether or not we got guys that could be physical against the run in terms of the secondary, yes and no. I get your concern, right? I mean, Darius Slay is a really good coverage cornerback, but he's not necessarily known as being a physical run support kind of guy. Avonte Maddox is a willing tackler, but, he's taken some bad angles before and definitely got himself crossed up. I mean, he's not the best at run support. I mean, but he's at least willing. I will say this, Sidney Jones he's a legit run defender. Sidney Jones is pretty good at playing the run. It's one of the things that kind of gets slept on about him is the physicality he brings against the run, even as a guy that's only like 180-some pounds. Sidney Jones plays the run very, very well. Rasul Douglas plays the run very, very well, but I don't know if Rasul will be on this football team or not. I think that's debatable. I will say that our safety play, when you take guys that are really kind of corners that have been converted, they are physical, man. Jalen Mills can play the run. Will Parks can play the run. Kavon Wallace can play the run. Like the safety, position can definitely come down and provide that support. I do think this is part of the reason why we might see the Eagles maybe lean a little more towards a more of a cover one system than a cover three. And even in cover three, your back guys that are playing those back thirds are not really going to be run support. But I definitely get your frustration and your fear there. Like, I can see that as well. But I would say it's going to be scheme-based where you won't need as many of those outside guys playing the run support. And then you're going to see a lot of those guys that come in the big nickel and stuff like that can play run support. I would also say that I am a little concerned about linebackers. Certain combinations of linebackers like Nathan Gary scare me in run support. But that would be my response to it, man. Appreciate the question, guys. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Like I said, this is quickly becoming one of my favorite things to do right here is this particular thing. If you guys want to call in, once again, 336-618-7767. Leave me a voicemail message, and I'll try to feature you, if I can, on next week's video, next Sunday. Y'all know what time it is. You know how we end these videos. We do a little E-A-G-L-E-S. All right, y'all. Let's go, Eagles.